And welcome back to Beyond Gardens Live, brought to you by the Water Corporation. You're in the company of John Colwell, John McWilliams and Gary Heddy, and you can talk to us yourself. It's very simple.
Yes, call us 6468 5994 and please turn your sound down. You've already heard the problems that can happen.
Yes, it's fun. Yes.
Well, we don't have problems with our email,
No.
because you can put it on tv@beyondgardens.com.au, but remember that photo makes life easy.
It does. Makes all the difference. Now, whilst you were enjoying a well-deserved break, we were getting phone calls. We've got one.
We were. We have
right
a phone call live. Good evening, caller.
Good evening. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
We're very well, thank you. Good to hear your voice.
Over the past month or so, there have been some beautiful pink bell-shaped flowers growing in the Southern River Jandcott area. And I was wondering if you could tell me what they are and whether they're natives or weeds gone wild.
Okay. Are they growing on a bush or a grassy sort of strap leaf?
They're coming out of the ground, rather like an Eastern Australian Christmas bell, and they have 3 or 4 lovely bell-shaped flowers on them, and they're a hot pink colour.
Yeah, I've got it.
Got it? That doesn't sound native to me.
Oh, it's not native.
Yeah.
No.
I was going to say hot pink flowers.
I was going to. I had it a second here. Here we go. This is what I think you're talking about. If we've got it up, is that?
No, not that. No.
Not that.
No.
Oh, well, that blew that theory. Well, hang on, don't go away. Keep looking at the pictures.
Where the scrub hasn't been ripped up or damaged with the bushfire break bales, and they've been quite thick around Jandcott Road, Solomon Road area, and they just grow up on a single stem, very little foliage. There was hard to see any foliage, and they have 3 to 4 bell-shaped flowers, maybe 5 bell-shaped flowers hanging down. There's another variety that grows, and it's got like a lot of rush. It only seemed to grow about 500 high.
Oh, if you're looking at a puzzled look on our faces, it's because we're puzzled, basically.
Well, yeah.
I'm struggling to think of anything that matches your description.
Are they a large flower or a small flower?
Not as large as the ones you've got in the pot behind you there, or showing on the screen. They're like a delicate bell-shaped flower, a nice hot pink colour, and they sort of grow up like a walking stick, and the curve on the top of the walking stick has the bell-shaped flowers hanging down.
Yeah, just a minute.
Another clue.
It may be that what we're talking about is a weed, and
It would have to be with that
yes,
flower
it
colour.
may well be gladiolus.
Yeah.
How about let's try this picture. Does that look familiar? Hang on. That one? Could
Very
be.
similar to that, but it could be. But
Getting close.
That's
okay.
getting close. So
I bet that's what it is. It's a
lilies. South
South African member of the gladiolus family. It's a weed, but it's very widespread in the bush. It is very widespread. So what can you do? Well, pull it out if you can and get it fairly quick, if possible. Down below, it's got corms, typical gladiolus. The old corm is on the top, forms a new corm underneath. If you pull it fairly quickly before it flowers, you can get all the corms out. If you leave it a little bit, you'll just pull the top one off and leave the other one for next year.
The cormlets.
Yeah, prepared to bet, that's what it is. Yep.
okay. There was another thing I was asking about your advice on putting coarse wood chips down for a mulch.
Yes.
Yeah. Aren't you just putting out a smorgasbord for white ants?
Not really. No. Our termites, and I'm talking about the ones down in the southwest here, prefer large pieces of wood that are large enough for them to feed inside undisturbed and also in the dark and also hold moisture. Doesn't happen with the wood chips. But by the same token, that mulch will allow termites to operate closer to the surface because of protection, but it doesn't really encourage them unless you leave it in a huge pile like Gary had at the start of the program. That's an invitation to termites.
That wasn't there for very long.
Oh yeah, okay.
But the other thing too is that it does bring them to the surface a bit more, and that's why we always advocate to leave a bit of mulch away from the house because if they're heading towards your house, they've got to expose themselves then.
Yeah.
And you actually get to see them before they cause hassles.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for
Okay.
your
Thank you for the
comment.
call.
No worries. Thank you.
Let's go to emails,
Yeah, let's
Batman.
have a look at an email here. We have an email here from Len, so thanks very much, Len. Len wants to plant Dichondra Silver Falls. He lives in Willerton, and where he wants to plant them is on the west-facing wall, or in the west-facing garden, so it will get the full afternoon sun all the way through to sundown. He's been told that it will burn, but others tell me that they'll take full sun. Advice, please. Also, is there anything he can feed his Gin Gems?
Well, let's do the Silver Falls first of all.
Yes.
It's a different Dichondra to the one that we use as a lawn substitute. This one's Dichondra argentea. If you know your botanic speak, that means silver. And it really is very attractive and surprisingly hardy plant. Look, this is
plants.
it being grown, I think, to best advantage. You're allowed to weep right down. The foliage is very much like the other Dichondra, except it's silver. It's actually almost a desert plant, this plant. It is tough as.
Yep,
it
absolutely.
really is tough.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it will tolerate some of that western sun. Give it a 40-degree day or anything over about 38 degrees, it will start to struggle a little bit. But I do think, I mean, it... Yeah,
Well, it grows in my place, so it's got to be tough.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the John Colwell method of growing.
Yeah, well, it's actually growing on brick paving.
Yes. Oh, yes.
It's got its roots down just in between the cracks in the bricks.
And they make absolutely
tough as.
fantastic ornamental plants, mulch for pots, living mulch for pots.
Yeah, that's what I do. You can see it in this picture here that I put it all in the pots, and then when it's growing well in one pot, I bung another pot alongside it and just trail it over that, knowing full well it will form roots as it goes. Chop it off, you've got it in both pots.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now, the next question in regards to feeding his Gin Gems, probably nothing, because they are just such a good, tough plant.
Deserves a question in reply, which is why.
Yeah, why? Yes.
But if you really must, a slow-release fertiliser with trace elements, a tiny little bit is fine. And I know it's a grevillea and you shouldn't put phosphorus on them.
No.
Gin Gem won't be worried by
exactly. The Gin Gems are
The
tough.
slow-release fertiliser is providing them with a bit of trace elements, mainly. That's the main thing. And please, even if you read the label on the back, you're going to have to quarter it or something like that. Tiny weeny bit away from the plant. And I normally put it in a couple of spots so that if the plant wants it, it'll actually send its roots to it. If it doesn't want it, it goes around it. It's a trick we used to do in the land care business. When we put something there, we're not too sure, we put fertiliser there and the plant will go and get it if it wants. Because it's not stupid enough to grow into fertiliser it doesn't want.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay.
Okay, we have another caller on the line.
Hello, welcome to the garden.
Hey, my name's Royce
Yes, Ross.
from Falcon.
Falcon.
I'd like to know about seaweed on the garden and how do you treat it? Do you wash it down or do you dig it into what?
We always need to phrase our comments this way. Because there's seaweed on the beach does not mean you can necessarily help yourself. Okay? Most of the seaweed is protected, not all of it, but most of it is. In areas where it can be harvested, then what you can do is to load up the back of a ute. Here we go.
Like this guy.
Like this guy here. This is actually down in Hopetown, I think it was. And he's loaded the ute up and he's putting it all over his roses. Is he washing it? No. Is there any need to wash it? No. Will it work wonders for your garden? Well, it'll be good,
a bit of organic,
but I wouldn't call it miracle stuff. No. Yeah. And it's not a good mulch, by the way.
No, and I wouldn't get carried away with the miracle things that they say about it because really there's a very slim link with the current plants that you're trying to fertilise in the first place. And please, being down in Falcon, check with the council before you go and do something. Because if it's not legal, you'll get into big trouble.
Mind you, I mean, there are problems in that part of the world, aren't there, with tons of rotting banks of stinking stuff.
It won't be long before the algal blooms start kicking in because unfortunately the dorsal channel's not quite doing the job it used to. It's been overwhelmed. So you'll get the nodularia blooms coming through, and that's pretty good fertiliser actually.
It is.
Because it's captured all the nutrients out of the farmland and everything.
The only snag with that is it's all in one lump.
One big glob.
Almost impossible to separate.
So
thank you for the call. Hope that answers you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the big problem, isn't it? It's a lot of people are harvesting it illegally. It is deemed as a habitat, so you've got to be
and
really
it does tend
careful.
to armour the beach a bit
Yeah,
against
oh,
wave
absolutely.
action and things like that.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Okay, we have another caller live on the line. Good evening, caller. How are you?
Oh, good, thanks. How are you guys going?
Good, good.
Look, what my question is I've planted some climbing beans, and they're starting to get yellow spots on some of them. Just some of them have got these yellow spots, and I don't know whether it's a nutritional deficiency or whether it's fungal or what it is.
That's yellow spots on the leaves?
Yes.
Okay. That could be, without seeing it, it could be nutritional? Or do you think
Could well be nutritional, could also be fungal. I think it's a bit early yet. Look, I've put up a picture here of mites. It's the sort of effect they have on the leaf, but I think it's a bit early for those yet.
Exactly. So it's
but a little bit later on, maybe. What else can I find?
If it is, if it is the yellowing from a nutrient deficiency, well, that's a simple correction with your complete trace elements. So you can go out there with a complete trace element. Again, have you fertilised the garden?
Yeah, I dug in some horse manure and potassium and a little bit of lime. Yeah. But it's funny because it's only on a few of the plants and mostly the snake beans.
Yep, okay. I'd definitely say applying some trace elements, complete trace elements. Don't just go for those individual elements. That may start rectifying some of the problems there.
Yeah. I think the other point is, sorry, I'll just jump in because I didn't know it was snake beans because there is a subtle difference with snake beans and some of the other beans. If you're not familiar with snake beans, this is what the flower looks like, and you can see it's quite an attractive flower, and this is a broader picture of the same plant. Now, interestingly, both these pictures were taken in the Pilbara. Because the snake bean is very much a warm weather beastie, and if you try and grow it too early in the season, it doesn't like it. So I sowed my snake beans last week, and I'm waiting for the weather to warm up before I get them going.
Yeah.
Oh.
There you go.
And I think that might be
sowed a little early.
the cause.
And one thing, question two, what suburb are you in?
Sawyers Valley.
Sawyers Valley, or even more.
Yeah, well, no, we're not saying it's cold in Sawyers Valley, but we are saying it's perhaps not as warm as it is on the coast and takes a little longer to warm up. So if you had your druthers, I would still hold off sowing my beans for another couple of weeks yet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you very much.
Okay, good luck with it. Well worth growing. Love the snake beans. They are terrific.
Yeah, no,
as long as you don't, they're beans that produce that long, okay? But it's very tempting to leave them till they get that long, by which time they're inedible. Pick them when they're not that long.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay. On to our next caller. Good evening. How are you?
I'm really good.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, we're all ears.
Oh, I'm from Queen's Rock, and I was wondering about the millipedes, the little black millipedes.
Yep, the dreaded Portuguese millipede.
Is it that you want some?
No, Queen's Rock's chock is full of them at the moment. It's
very, very unfair, isn't it?
You're cruel, John.
I think everybody knows what the black millipede looks like. In case you don't, this is it.
Yes.
That's just one you don't normally get. One, you normally get a whole bundle of them. Look, here they are, stuck in a jar. What can we say in simple terms? There is no simple solution. Time appears to be resolving the issue for those people who've had them for a long time. The best you can do is try not to let them annoy you too much. And that really means the outdoor lights at night is probably the key to it. They're very much attracted to light. If you can set up a light in your garden, which will draw them away from the house, hey, your neighbour's place. A good place to set up a light, outdoor light at night. Draw them away from the house. That will make a lot of difference. And I do know people who have lights around the side of their houses that have actually taken the globes out of those in order to have a light some distance away and draw them away. No harm done, but they're just annoying.
They are.
But they do get into the bottom of my strawberries.
Yes, they...
Oh, you'll find them everywhere.
Yep.
But they like eating rotting material. They're great recyclers from that perspective. The strawberries would have to be rotten from some other reason first before the millipedes moved in.
You might find it's another culprit that's not readily evident.
The fungi,
probably a grey mould, which is very, very common on the strawberries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially this weather.
I wish we could be more help.
Yeah.
But we
No,
can't.
can I ask
Oh.
one other question, please?
Yes.
About ants in my tomatoes. Last season I had a great crop of tomatoes, but ants attacking them, the fruit.
Ants in the tomatoes.
Ants attacking the fruit. That's
Usually secondary, rather than primary. Ants do eat plants. I mean, I've got some particularly nasty ones at home that eat just about everything in sight. But tomatoes is unusual. I'd be looking for something else first.
That's
open
up the skin of the plant.
Yeah, have a really good look at the tomato,
Yep.
see if there's something else going on. I suspect there will be. But I can't guess what it is, I'm afraid. Okay. All right, thanks for your call.
Yeah, ants and tomatoes.
Ants
there
and
you go.
tomatoes.
You get it.
Well, we haven't heard everything, I'm sure.
No, that's exactly
And,
right. Maybe the next caller has...
Maybe there are. Maybe if you're watching and you know the answer to that, we'd be curious to know.
It's ant season after all.
It is ant season.
Oh well,
yes.
the ants are stirring up again, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, caller.
Hello, welcome to the program.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello. I was just wanting to ask a question about reticulation.
Yes.
The brown tubes, the
Yes.
dripper tubes,
Yes.
how often can you put them on? It used to be 10 minutes per day.
Okay. The 10 minutes is where the confusion is. What it is you're allowed to deliver, by delivering 10 millimetres of water, you're actually wetting that root profile in the sandy soils.
Right.
So if you were to run the inline drip irrigation for 10 minutes, you're actually underwatering. Because the slow application rate, most of the inline drip irrigation, particularly the brown stuff, is about 1.9 litres per hour, which is a very slow application rate. And that's why for your inline drip irrigation, it can be somewhere around half an hour to about 45 minutes, depending on the water pressure. And this is why there's the rough guide on the Water Corporation website, and also seek advice from a water-wise specialist.
If you really wanted, I could give you quite a complicated formula to work it out. But the point is, as John makes, it's a much slower application rate, therefore you need to leave it on a lot longer. It does not mean you're using a lot more water.
No.
In fact, what we found is in converting old above-ground emitters to this integrated or inline drip, instead of having 6 stations around a house, often you can get away with just one and that stays on for 45 minutes.
Absolutely.
Whereas before, there might have been 5 stations at 15 minutes each.
15 minutes apiece,
yes.
And
it's terrific stuff.
And about 90% efficient too.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredibly efficient compared to sprinklers, which is what, 55, 60, something like that?
Exactly. So that's you can either work out the calculations yourself or seek advice from a water-wise specialist or a water-wise design shop. Look for the water-wise specialist symbols, and they'll be able to help you out there.
We got it.
And again, regardless of your irrigation systems, we can still only water twice a week.
There we go. Okay, so these are the symbols you should look for, says he. Hint, hint. No, not that one.
There we go.
On the other one.
There
we go. Yes.
So they're the symbols to look for, the water-wise specialist, and they're on a lot of the irrigation shops, and the Waterwise approved as well. And the Smart Approved Watermark is a Eastern States-based program that you'll start seeing on a lot of the bagged products and shower heads and things like that as well. Okay. So hopefully that will help you out there.
And we're Waterwise approved and Waterwise specialists and all the other things that are associated with that.
Approved by some.
Some,
we've got one email I can deal with very quickly, and the emailer himself entitled it Silly Question. Can you eat the grapes off an ornamental grapevine? And the answer is, well, usually ornamental grapevines don't produce grapes. Sometimes they do, actually, very small ones.
Tiny ones.
They're not going to poison you, but you'll discover the difference between edible and palatable fairly quickly. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
More emails?
No, we've got
what about
more callers. It's callers.
Callers, all right.
Yeah,
Sorry, emailers. We'll get to you.
They're taking advantage of our live status. So.
There's one email I do want to do. Can I? because it was put to me as a challenge, right? That you'll never identify this particular plant. Now, I have...
Better get it right then.
Yeah, well I haven't seen this before. They've sent me a picture of an orange tree. Oh, I know what it is. It's in the background. Okay. All right.
Picture of an orange
this
tree.
is to, says he, where's the challenge? Tree identification help. Hello, John and team from Helen.
Yes.
Yes. Helen, you have a plant which is called Duranta.
Oh.
Right, fairly common, quite a lot of them. It's got lovely blue flowers. So this is what the flowering looks like. There's a number of different cultivars. And after the flowers, you get to the berries. One of the alternate names for it is pigeon berry plant. So there, that's met the challenge. Actually, that's a much better picture of the berries there. Gives you a better idea of it. Prunable, yeah, repens, which means flat in the ground. Well, it ain't very flat most of the time, I can tell you. Yeah. But that's what it is, Helen. Okay.
Right,
and our caller, thank you for waiting. Hello, welcome to the program.
Oh, hello, this is Millie.
Hello, Millie.
Hello. You guys do a great job. Just keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Now, I've got a couple of fruit trees in large pots. Now, I can hear an echo there. What I need is some good fertiliser to put into it.
Just before, I know you're worried about the echo, but you've already planted them up, yes?
Yes, they've been growing for a while, actually.
Okay, all right.
It's just I'm not sure. I have been using that stuff. It's something fruit and something, but it's got cadmium in it.
Just about all the mineral-based fertilisers do, because it's an impurity in the process. But you'll find that it's very small quantity. But in a pot, for my money, I would much prefer to feed with a controlled release product. There are quite a lot of them. Look for anything with the word coat at the end of the name, and make sure it's one that, it doesn't have to be a special one for fruit trees. It can be a general purpose one, and make sure it has trace elements. But in addition to that, I would also strongly recommend you buy some complete trace element mix. You buy it as a powder. It is dirt cheap. And you apply that once or twice a year as well.
What's that called?
That is called complete trace elements.
Yeah,
that's a whole lot. Yeah,
don't try to diagnose, and please don't put potash on like they tell you in the eastern states. It's just silly.
All right.
Okay, and it will do well. I have a lot of fruit trees in pots. That's exactly how I feed mine.
And I've got another one, the black spot on the camellia. How would I get rid of that?
You want to get rid of your camellia?
No, the spots, the black spots.
Black spots.
Black spots. Oh, I thought you were going to get rid of your camellia.
Can't see it, and therefore can't be sure what the black spots are. I would suspect they're probably scale, but you'd need to get a picture to us to confirm that.
All right, then.
Okay. Thanks, Millie.
Maybe next week.
Okay, time's marching on.
Yes, it is.
Wow, just like that. If you've been unable to get through, or we haven't answered your email, well, maybe there is somewhere else you can go. It's called our website. The web address is self-evident, really, beyondgardens.com.au. And when you get there, this is what you'll find, hopefully. Something like this. Something like this. Is it up there? Yeah, it's up there.
So, if you want to continue asking us questions, we're not around. We have a forum. We've got over 1,300 people in there. So it's just ask the question, and one of us or one of the other members will answer the question. But please, no product names, because the moment you do that, I take you off. So that's an important one, because we're strictly non-commercial.
They call him Mr. Ruthless for a very good reason, yes.
But no, it is.
No mercy, no pity.
And instead of you trying to trawl through hundreds of forum questions, we've broken that up into individual sections, you know, our bush food, common gardening, water-wise gardening and things like that. So you can find a nice, easy category to navigate.
Lots of other resources there too, including e-learning.
We have e-learning where you can actually do the course that we've developed, and it just takes you on a journey on a lot of things and show you the interlinked parts of it.
And perhaps worth reminding people, this e-learning and the pathway there is one that's been developed specifically for Western Australia.
Yes.
So if you're listening to us in Queensland, and somebody was last week, I'm sorry, this really isn't for you.
No, and of course the other thing is it links you up with the WaterWise databases, and you can go through the list of plants and and a whole sweep of things, and we've vetted it, which is the other thing, of course, is we're vetting things so you're not being given eastern states-based information, and you certainly won't find any part of this suggesting you buy anything. We're talking about the specifics of how to do things, and we try to do it for free.
Yes.
And that's our major mantra. So.
Yes.
And there we go. Now, how are we off for calls and emails?
No more calls.
Oh, okay. Well, let's whip in an email then.
No,
come on.
yep,
we've got time.
Calls.
We can do that. We can do that.
And we need to talk about our workshops coming up.
But
we do have an email here from Phyllis. She enjoys our program. She just bought a house in Joondalup. Recently had to remove a mature cypress tree because of canker. They tried treating it. It didn't work. Now the other pines are starting to die. They've been sprayed by an arborist twice, but one is dying badly. So yes, you've got canker, and don't worry, Joondalup is riddled with it.
Yeah. It's rather sad. It's cypress canker. It's a specific fungus. It can be controlled sometimes with the phosphorus-based or phosphorus acid sprays. Doesn't always work, but it's well worth a try.
Yep.
Go to your local nursery and ask them about that process.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, or come and talk to us at one of our workshops. Our workshops, Thursday night in Cambridge is our Garden Wise workshop. That's full. So is our workshop in Wanneroo on Friday afternoon. That one's full as well. But Thursday, the 7th of November, is our next workshop. That's a Morley Garden Wise seminar. So general water-wise gardening practices. And
I think the moral to the tale that John is telling you is if you want to go to that workshop, please book in quickly. Yeah. Can I also make one plea, and that is we do close off the workshops when they're full. Please, if you've registered, make sure you come, because if you don't come, you're just denying somebody else a spot.
Absolutely.
And that's unfair, really.
Yep. And with the new season, we've got some fresh photos and lots of new information, and yeah, we keep it as new as possible, also to keep ourselves on our toes.
Mind you, we're getting fairly old, but we're just the same as we were before.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, viewers, this has been Beyond Gardens Live. You might be watching a repeat, but remember, you can ask questions when it says not live down there. So we will be back with just one more program for this series, and that's next week at the same time on WTV, Channel 44, at 6:30 on a Wednesday night.
Yes.
Last one for the season. It's been a great season, though, and we have been astonished and delighted by the success of the program and the number of people who've been in touch with us. If you're one of those, then we give you a personal thank you. On behalf of John McWilliams, Gary Hetty, and myself, thanks for joining us. See you next week, same time.